The Grand Galactic Council chamber floated in the darkness of space like a jewel made of metal and light. Inside its massive halls, representatives from 300 different alien species gathered for the most important meeting of the year. The chamber was so large that small transport vehicles moved between the seating areas. Holographic displays showed every delegate in perfect detail, no matter where they sat. Ambassador Jinwoo stood at the human podium, his dark suit simple compared to the elaborate robes and armor worn by other species. Beside him, Captain Daeho kept his hands clasped behind his back, his military uniform crisp and clean. Engineer Hana sat at the technical station, ready to display their presentation. All three wore calm expressions, though they knew this moment would decide humanity's future in the galaxy. Jinwoo activated the holographic display. Images of Earth appeared, rotating slowly to show the blue planet that humanity called home. Then came images of human achievements, cities reaching into the clouds, spacecraft moving between planets, medical advances that had doubled human lifespans. "Honored members of the Galactic Council," Jinwoo began, his voice steady and clear. "Humanity requests consideration for full membership status. We offer our unique perspectives on problem-solving, our advances in artificial intelligence integration, and our eagerness to contribute to galactic peace." He gestured, and Hana brought up technical specifications. "We propose a mutual defense treaty. We also wish to share technology with other species and learn from your wisdom." For a moment, silence filled the chamber. Then, from the highest platform, a sound like clicking rocks echoed through the space. High Chancellor Vraxis of the Dominion Coalition was laughing. Vraxis stood nearly 3 meters tall, his insectoid body covered in gleaming black armor. His 4 eyes glowed with amusement as he looked down at the human delegation. When he spoke, his voice boomed through translation devices. "Defense treaty? Technology sharing?" Vraxis clicked his mandibles together. "What could primitive apes possibly offer true civilization? Your species discovered faster than light travel barely 30 years ago. My people have sailed the stars for 10,000 years. More laughter rippled through the chamber. Prelate Thorn, a massive reptilian creature with scales like dark emeralds, rose from his seat. His forked tongue flickered as he spoke. "I have reviewed human military capabilities," Thorn said, his voice dripping with contempt. "Your largest warship carries weapons that my empire used as training tools 3 millennia ago. At the first sign of real danger, humans would flee back to their single planet and hide." Ambassador Jinwoo's expression did not change. He simply listened. A delegate from the Merchant Consortium, a floating creature that resembled a jellyfish made of light, added its voice. "Human mathematics are charming in their simplicity. Human medicine is quaint. Human culture is brief and shallow. What wisdom can come from a species that has existed for only a few thousand years?" Vraxis raised his clawed hand, and the chamber quieted. He looked directly at Jinwoo, his eyes glittering with cruel amusement. "I propose a motion," Vraxis announced. "Humanity should be reclassified as a provisional species. They may observe council proceedings, but hold no vote. They may trade only with explicit permission. They may travel only along approved routes. And they should be grateful that true civilization allows them even this much." The voting began immediately. Species after species signaled their agreement. Green lights filled the display boards. Out of 300 delegates, 247 voted yes. Only a handful of smaller species abstained. None voted no. Captain Daeho's jaw tightened, but he remained still. Hana's fingers paused over her console, but she made no move. Jinwoo simply watched the votes appear, counting them silently. When the voting finished, Vraxis clicked his mandibles in satisfaction. "The motion passes overwhelmingly. Humanity is hereby designated a provisional species with limited privileges. You may continue to attend council sessions, but you have no authority here. Learn from your betters, humans. Perhaps in another 1,000 years, you will be ready for real responsibility." More laughter filled the chamber. Some species applauded. Others made sounds of approval in their own languages. The noise became a wave of mockery that washed over the human delegation. Ambassador Jinwoo stepped forward to the podium once more. The chamber slowly quieted, curious what the human would say in defeat. "Thank you for your decision," Jinwoo said calmly. "I request 48 hours to consult with my government before we respond officially to this new status." Vraxis waved a claw dismissively. "Granted, though I cannot imagine what difference it will make." "The decision is final." Jinwoo bowed slightly, a gesture of respect that seemed to amuse many delegates. 48 hours, thank you." He turned and walked toward the exit. Daeho and Hana followed him. The three humans moved in complete silence through the massive chamber while aliens celebrated around them. Some species pointed at the departing humans and made sounds of amusement. Others simply ignored them, already moving on to other business. As they entered the corridor leading to the human quarters, the heavy doors sealed behind them. The sounds of the council chamber faded to nothing. Only then did Daeho speak. "That went exactly as we expected," he said quietly. Hana nodded, her fingers already moving across her portable console. "I recorded everything. Every word, every vote, every delegate who laughed." Jinwoo's calm expression finally shifted. The corners of his mouth turned up in the smallest smile. "Good. Send the full recording to Earth immediately. And Daeho, send your message." Daeho pulled out a small encrypted communication device. His fingers moved across the keys, typing a single sentence. He showed it to Jinwoo before sending it. The message read, "Protocol reminder has been authorized." Jinwoo nodded once. Daeho pressed send. The message traveled through quantum relays, jumping across light years in seconds. It reached Earth in less than a minute. Deep in the Pacific Ocean, in a facility that no alien knew existed, Admiral Suman read the message and smiled. The Admiral turned to her command staff. "Wake up the reserve fleet. We have work to do." In his quarters on the council station, Ambassador Jinwoo poured 3 glasses of water. He handed one to Daeho and one to Hana. 48 hours, he said softly. They have 48 hours to enjoy their laughter. The 3 humans touched their glasses together in a quiet toast. Outside their window, the stars shone in the darkness, beautiful and cold and waiting. The human quarters on the council station were simple compared to the grand suites occupied by other species. 3 small rooms connected by a common area, furnished with basic chairs and tables. Yet the aliens who passed by the human section noticed something strange. The humans did not seem angry or ashamed. They worked quietly, moving with purpose, their faces calm. This confused the alien observers greatly. In the main room, Engineer Hana had transformed a simple table into a technical workspace. Holographic displays floated above the surface, showing complex diagrams that shifted and changed as she worked. Her fingers danced across multiple interfaces at once, making adjustments that would have taken most species hours to complete. Captain Daeho sat across from her, speaking quietly into a secure communication link. The hologram of Admiral Suman appeared before him, her gray hair tied back, her uniform decorated with medals from conflicts that the galaxy knew nothing about. "The Council believes we are helpless," Daeho said. "They think our ships are toys. They think our weapons are antiques." Suman's smile was cold and sharp. "Let me show you what they do not know." The hologram changed. It now showed a vast region of space near Earth's solar system. At first, it appeared empty, just darkness and distant stars. Then Suman touched a control, and the image transformed. Hundreds of ships appeared. They had been there all along, hidden by stealth technology so advanced that even military sensors could not detect them. The vessels were sleek and deadly, their designs unlike anything the Galactic Council had ever seen. They ranged from small attack craft to massive carriers that dwarfed the largest alien battleships. "The Reserve Fleet," Suman said with pride. "Built over 30 years in facilities the galaxy does not know exist. Every ship uses technology we developed by studying alien designs and improving them. We took what they gave us and made it better. Much better." Hana looked up from her work to watch the display. "How much better?" Suman's smile widened. "Our fastest ships can travel 3 times faster than the best Dominion vessels. Our weapons can punch through shields that aliens believe are impossible to break. Our AI systems can calculate battle outcomes in microseconds. And our stealth technology makes us invisible until we choose to be seen." Another figure appeared in the hologram. Dr. Hyan, a woman in her 60s with kind eyes and a sharp mind. She had spent 30 years studying every species in the Galactic Council, learning their strengths and, more importantly, their weaknesses. "The greatest discovery I made," Dr. Hyan said, "is that the galaxy has become lazy. These species have ruled for so long that they stopped innovating. They use the same technology their ancestors used 1,000 years ago. They believe age equals wisdom, but they are wrong. Age without growth equals stagnation." She pulled up files on the major species. "The Dominion Coalition has the largest fleet, but their tactics have not changed in centuries. Prelate Thorn's empire has powerful shields, but they rely on them completely and neglect offensive capabilities. The Merchant Consortium has wealth, but they hire others to fight their battles and do not understand modern warfare." Ambassador Jinwoo entered the room carrying a cup of tea. He had changed from his formal suit into simple, comfortable clothes. He looked relaxed, as if he had just returned from a pleasant vacation rather than a public humiliation. "Any surprises?" he asked. Dr. Hyan shook her head. "They behaved exactly as predicted. Arrogance, mockery, immediate dismissal. Vraxis is especially predictable. He believes his position is unshakable." "Good," Jinwoo said. He sipped his tea. "Yuna, what about the political situation?" A fourth hologram appeared, showing a young woman with sharp features and alert eyes. Intelligence Officer Yuna sat in a data center on Earth, surrounded by screens showing real-time information from across the galaxy. 43 species have already sent private messages requesting quiet meetings, Yuna reported. They did not vote against the motion because they fear the Dominion, but they are very interested in humanity. The smaller species see an opportunity. They are tired of being ignored by the major powers. "What about the species that laughed the loudest?" Daeho asked. Yuna's expression hardened. "I have complete files on all of them. Military assets, trade routes, diplomatic relationships, economic vulnerabilities. The Dominion Coalition looks strong, but it is actually fragile. 3 member species are already unhappy with Vraxis's leadership. If we apply pressure in the right places, the coalition could collapse." Hana spoke without looking up from her work. "I have been scanning their ships every time we docked near alien vessels. They have no idea our sensors are so advanced. I know the exact specifications of their engines, weapons, and shields. I could disable most of their fleet remotely if needed." "That will not be necessary," Jinwoo said calmly. "We are not here to conquer. We are here to teach a lesson." He walked to the window and looked out at the stars. Behind him, the others continued their work, each focused on their task. The room hummed with quiet efficiency. "Humanity spent 10,000 years fighting ourselves," Jinwoo said softly, still looking at the stars. "We built empires and watched them fall. We created weapons that could destroy our entire planet. We nearly killed ourselves a dozen times, but we learned from every mistake. We learned patience. We learned to plan. We learned that the strongest warrior is not the one who strikes first, but the one who strikes last and wins. Deho nodded. The galaxy has never faced an enemy like us because they have never fought themselves the way we have. They think war is about bigger ships and stronger weapons. They do not understand strategy. They do not understand sacrifice. They do not understand adaptation. Hana finally looked up from her work, a satisfied expression on her face. I have finished. Every human ship in this station now has upgraded sensors and weapon systems. The aliens think we are working with standard equipment. They have no idea what we can actually do. How long until the fleet arrives? Jinwoo asked Admiral Suman. 36 hours, Suman replied. They will remain in stealth mode until you give the signal. The Galactic Council will not see them coming. Perfect. Jinwoo set down his empty teacup. Dr. Hyon, prepare the presentation showing our actual technological level. Make sure it is impressive but not complete. Let them see enough to frighten them, but not enough to copy us. Yuna, identify which species are most likely to break from the Dominion first. We will need allies when this is over. Hana, rest. We need you sharp tomorrow. Deho, review the battle plans one more time. Each person nodded and returned to their tasks. Jinwoo walked to his private quarters and sat down at a small desk. He pulled out a paper notebook, something rarely seen in an age of digital technology, and began writing by hand. He wrote his speech for the council. Every word was chosen carefully, every phrase calculated for maximum effect. He wrote for 2 hours without stopping, crossing out sentences and rewriting them until they were perfect. When he finished, he read it through one final time and smiled. The speech was not angry. It was not threatening. It was simply honest, and that would make it more powerful than any insult or boast. Outside, the council station continued its rotation through space. Alien delegates celebrated their victory over the upstart humans. They drank and laughed and congratulated themselves on putting the primitive species in their place. They had no idea what was coming. In the human quarters, the lights dimmed for night cycle. Jinwoo lay in his bed, hands folded on his chest, breathing slowly and deeply. Tomorrow would change everything. Tomorrow, the galaxy would learn what it meant to underestimate humanity. He smiled in the darkness and closed his eyes. The countdown had begun. The Grand Galactic Council chamber filled with delegates once more. 48 hours had passed since humanity had been declared a provisional species. The alien representatives arrived in high spirits, eager to see the humans submit to their new inferior status. Many expected apologies. Some thought the humans might beg for reconsideration. A few wondered if humanity would simply leave the station in shame. None expected what actually happened. Ambassador Jinwoo walked to the podium with the same calm confidence he had shown before. Captain Daiho and Engineer Hana followed him. Their expressions neutral and professional. The three humans showed no sign of defeat, no trace of anger, no hint of fear. High Chancellor Vraxis watched from his elevated platform, his mandibles clicking with satisfaction. Prelate Thorn lounged in his seat, barely paying attention. The other delegates settled in, some talking among themselves, not bothering to hide their lack of interest in whatever the humans had to say. Jinwoo activated the holographic display. Instead of images of Earth, the display showed the council chamber itself from 2 days before. The recording played, showing Vraxis calling humans primitive apes. It showed Thorn mocking human military strength. It showed delegate after delegate voting to reduce humanity to provisional status. I want to thank the Council, Jinwoo began, his voice clear and strong, for clarifying the galactic power structure. You have shown us exactly where humanity stands in your eyes. You have made your position perfectly clear. Vraxis clicked his mandibles in approval. This sounded like the beginning of a surrender. Therefore, Jinwoo continued, I am authorized by my government to announce humanity's withdrawal from all pending treaties and agreements with the Galactic Council. If we are too primitive to participate as equals, we shall not participate at all." A ripple of surprise moved through the chamber. This was unexpected. Several delegates sat up straighter, paying attention now. Jinwoo gestured, and the holographic display changed. Technical specifications appeared, showing detailed schematics of human technology. The information was complex and advanced, far beyond what the Council had previously seen from humanity. "You called our mathematics simple," Jinwoo said. "This is our quantum computing network. It processes information 1,000 times faster than the best systems available in galactic trade. You called our medicine quaint. This is our nanocellular repair technology. It can heal injuries you consider fatal in a matter of hours. You called our culture brief. This is the record of human history. 10,000 years of constant warfare, constant innovation, constant adaptation to survive on a planet that tried to kill us daily." The chamber had gone completely silent. Delegates stared at the displays, their translators working overtime to process the flood of technical data. Engineer Hana stepped forward. "For 30 years, every time a human ship docked at a galactic station, we scanned your vessels, every engine signature, every weapon frequency, every shield modulation. We analyzed your technology and asked ourselves how we could improve it. The answer is dramatically." She brought up comparison charts: human ship engines versus alien engines, human weapons versus alien weapons, human defensive systems versus alien defensive systems. In every category, human technology showed significant advantages. "Impossible!" someone shouted from the crowd. "This data must be false." Captain Daeho spoke for the first time, his military bearing commanding attention. "Nothing is false. We simply learned from the best teachers, our enemies. Humanity spent millennia fighting itself with ever-improving technology. We built weapons to destroy cities, then weapons to destroy countries, then weapons to destroy our entire world. We stood on the edge of extinction and chose to survive instead. That experience taught us things you cannot learn from 10,000 years of peace." The holographic display shifted again. This time it showed space near the Council station. At first, the image appeared to show empty darkness. Then, one by one, ships began to appear. Hundreds of them. They materialized like ghosts, revealing themselves from perfect stealth. The reserve fleet had arrived. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Delegates jumped from their seats. Security officers scrambled to confirm what their sensors were now detecting. The sheer size of the human fleet stunned everyone who saw it. These were not the small exploration vessels humanity had shown the galaxy before. These were warships, sleek and deadly and more advanced than anything in the Council's combined forces. "You mocked our military capability," Daeho continued. "You suggested we would run from real danger. But you never asked why we learned to fight so well. The answer is simple. On Earth, we had nowhere to run. For 10,000 years, every human conflict meant standing and fighting or dying. We became experts at survival through strength." Vraxis finally found his voice. "This is a threat! You dare threaten the Galactic Council!" "No threat," Jinwoo said calmly. "Merely a demonstration. You declared us primitive, so we are showing you what primitives can accomplish. You reduced our status, so we are exercising our right to leave. The fleet you see is our escort home. We will depart within 24 hours. But we also offer an alternative," Jinwoo continued. "Issue a formal apology. Recognize humanity as an equal member of galactic civilization. Grant us full voting rights and equal standing with all species. Do this, and we will remain and share our innovations with those who treat us with respect." Prelate Thorn rose to his full height, his scales rippling with anger. "You cannot make demands of this council. We are the ancient powers. We have ruled the galaxy for millennia." "Yes," Jinwoo agreed. "You have ruled for millennia, and in that time, you have become comfortable, lazy, arrogant. You stopped innovating because you did not need to. You had no competition, no pressure to improve. You used the same technology your ancestors used because it was good enough. He paused, letting the words sink in. Humanity has been in space for 30 years. Just 30 years. And we have already surpassed you in multiple fields. Imagine what we will accomplish in 100 years. In 1,000. You can either work with us as partners, or you can watch us leave and wonder what we are building out there in the dark, beyond your borders. The chamber erupted in chaos. Species shouted at each other in dozens of languages. Some demanded the humans be arrested. Others called for immediate negotiation. A few began accessing their own military networks, trying to assess the threat. Hana touched her console, and a new display appeared. It showed detailed maps of the entire sector with every strategic position marked. We have been mapping your territories for 3 decades. We know where every major military installation is located, every trade route, every resource depot, every weakness in your defense networks. We are not threatening you. We are simply showing you that we are not the ignorant species you believed us to be. A smaller species delegate, one who had abstained from the vote 2 days before, stood up. If humanity leaves, will you trade with individual species? Not through the council, but directly? Jinwoo nodded. Absolutely. Any species that wishes to establish bilateral relations based on mutual respect may negotiate with Earth independently. We have no quarrel with those who treated us fairly. Our issue is with those who chose mockery over diplomacy. This caused another wave of chaos. Smaller species immediately began calculating the benefits of dealing directly with humanity. The major powers realized they were losing control of the situation. Vraxis slammed his claws on his podium, creating a thunderous boom that silenced the chamber. You overstep, humans. You have shown us ships and numbers, but you have not shown us victory. The Dominion Coalition alone could destroy your fleet. Could you? Daeho asked quietly. Your military tactics have not changed in 300 years. We studied them all. We know exactly how you fight, what formations you use, what strategies you employ. You know nothing about how we fight because we have never shown you. Your fleet may outnumber ours in this sector, but would you win the battle? Are you certain? Certain enough to risk everything on it? The question hung in the air, heavy and dangerous. Vraxis opened his mouth to respond, then closed it. His confidence, usually unshakable, wavered for just a moment. That moment was enough. Jinwoo stepped back from the podium. The council has 24 hours to make a decision. Apologize and accept us as equals, or watch us leave. Choose wisely. He turned and walked toward the exit. Daeho and Hana followed. This time no one laughed. No one mocked. The chamber sat in stunned silence as the 3 humans departed. Outside, in the corridor, Hana finally allowed herself a small smile. That went well. Daeho nodded. Better than expected. Did you see Vraxis's face when the fleet appeared? I recorded it, Hana said. For posterity. Ambassador Jinwoo said nothing, but his eyes held a quiet satisfaction. The message had been delivered. Now they would wait and see if the galaxy was wise enough to accept it. Behind them in the council chamber, the real chaos was just beginning. The hours after humanity's demonstration passed like a storm gathering strength. Across the council station, species that had stood together for centuries began to fracture into opposing groups. Old alliances cracked, new possibilities emerged. And at the center of it all, 3 humans waited with infinite patience. In a private meeting room, Liaison Ji-young faced her 20th meeting of the day. Across the table sat a delegate from the Crystalline Assembly, a species that resembled walking formations of living gemstones. They had voted yes to humanity's demotion 2 days ago, but now their representative spoke with nervous urgency. We made a mistake, the delegate said, their voice chiming like bells. We followed the Dominion's lead because we always have. But we never imagined humans possessed such capability. We wish to apologize privately and establish direct trade relations. Ji-young made notes on her tablet. You understand that private apologies mean nothing? The insult was public. Any reconciliation must be public as well. The delegate's crystalline structure flickered with embarrassment. The Dominion will be angry if we break ranks. Then you must decide, Ji-young said calmly, whether you fear the Dominion more than you desire a relationship with humanity. We are not forcing anyone to choose. We simply will not accept half measures. The delegate left, clearly troubled. Moments later, another species entered for their scheduled meeting. Ji-young greeted them with the same professional courtesy and began the conversation again. Meanwhile, in the strategic operations room, Captain Daeho monitored fleet movements across the sector. Dr. Hyon sat beside him, analyzing the political implications of each military deployment. The Dominion coalition is mobilizing, Daeho reported. Vraxis has called in reinforcements from 3 nearby systems. Their fleet will outnumber ours 5-1 when they arrive. Dr. Hyon nodded, unsurprised. Vraxis cannot back down without appearing weak. His entire authority rests on the belief that the Dominion is the strongest power in the galaxy. If he submits to humanity, his coalition will question his leadership. So he will fight? He will try to intimidate us into leaving without forcing actual combat, Dr. Hyon predicted. He wants us to see his fleet, realize we are outnumbered, and retreat. That way he can claim victory without risking battle. But we are not going to retreat, Daeho said. No, Dr. Hyon agreed. We are not. In another section of the station, Engineer Hana worked with a small team of human technicians. They moved quietly through the docking bays, making final adjustments to their ships. Several alien engineers watched from a distance, fascinated by the human techniques. One of them, an insectoid mechanic from a minor species, approached hesitantly. Excuse me, Engineer Hana. I have been observing your work. The way you integrate your AI systems with manual controls is remarkable. I have never seen such efficiency. Hana smiled. Thank you. Would you like me to explain the principle? The alien mechanic's antennae quivered with excitement. You would share this knowledge? With friends? Yes, Hana said. And anyone who treats us with respect is a potential friend. Word spread quickly through the station's technical community. Human engineers were willing to teach, to share, to collaborate. This was almost unheard of among the major powers, who guarded their technologies jealously. More aliens began approaching the human sections, curious and eager. Ambassador Jinwoo observed all of this from his quarters. Reports flowed in from Ji-young, Daeho, Dr. Hyon, and Hana. He compiled them into a comprehensive picture of the situation. The galaxy was splitting. Some species were moving toward humanity. Others were rallying to the Dominion. Most were caught in the middle, uncertain which side to choose. His communication panel chimed. Admiral Suman appeared on the screen. The Dominion fleet has arrived, she reported. They are positioning themselves between our ships and the station. Aggressive formation, weapons charged, shields at maximum. They want us to see their strength. How many ships? Jinwoo asked. 417 combat vessels, Suman said, against our 83 visible ships. They believe they have overwhelming advantage. And our stealth ships? Still hidden. 230 vessels surrounding their fleet. They have no idea we are there. Jinwoo nodded. Good. Do not reveal them unless absolutely necessary. Let Vraxis believe he has the upper hand. 6 hours passed. The Dominion fleet held position, a wall of metal and weapons blocking the human ships. On the Council station, tension grew unbearable. Some species evacuated their delegates, fearing the situation would explode into violence. Others stayed, unwilling to miss what might be the most significant moment in galactic history. Then, Vraxis sent a message to Ambassador Jinwoo. It appeared on every screen in the human quarters, broadcast openly so that all humanity could hear his words. Humans, Vraxis said, his voice full of false courtesy. You have made your point. You have impressive ships and clever technology. But you are still outnumbered, still outgunned. I offer you a compromise. Withdraw your fleet. Accept provisional status for now. In perhaps 100 years, when you have proven yourselves, we will reconsider your request for full membership. This is generous. Accept it. Jinwoo watched the message without expression. Then he turned to his team. Opinions? He is terrified, Dr. Hyun said immediately. That speech was not about strength. It was about finding a way to back down without losing face. Daiho agreed. His fleet positioning is defensive, not offensive. He expects us to attack first so he can claim self-defense. He does not want this fight. But he cannot simply apologize, Ji-young added. Not after gathering his fleet. Not after making such a show of force. He has trapped himself. Jinwoo stood and straightened his jacket. Then we will give him a way out, but not the one he expects. He opened a communication channel directly to the Dominion flagship. Vraxis appeared on screen, his mandibles clicking with nervous energy. High Chancellor, Jinwoo said calmly. You offer 100 years of waiting. I counteroffer, you may fire the first shot, right now. My fleet will not move, will not raise shields, will not respond in any way. If you truly believe your position is righteous, if you truly believe humanity deserves to be inferior, then attack us. Prove your strength. Vraxis recoiled as if struck. You cannot be serious. Completely serious, Jinwoo said. You have the numbers. You have the position. You have every tactical advantage. All you need is the conviction to use them. So use them. Fire on us. Show the galaxy that might makes right. The channel went silent. On the Dominion flagship, Vraxis stared at the human ambassador. This was madness. No one offered themselves as a target, unless they knew something he did not. In the human strategic operations room, Daiho watched his scanners. Vraxis is running battle simulations. His AI is trying to calculate the outcome of an attack. What is it telling him? Dr. Hyun asked. Unknown factors, Daiho said. Too many variables. His computers cannot predict our response because we have never shown how we actually fight. He is paralyzed by uncertainty. The standoff continued for 6 hours. Neither fleet moved. Neither side blinked. The tension stretched across the sector like a wire pulled tight, ready to snap. Then, a single shot fired. But it did not come from the Dominion flagship. It came from a Dominion escort ship, a minor vessel in the back of the formation. The shot went wide, missing the human fleet entirely, but its existence changed everything. Immediately, Dominion command ships began broadcasting. Unauthorized fire! Cease immediately! That was not a command order! Vraxis appeared on open channels, his voice frantic. Commander Minho of that vessel is relieved of duty. This is not, I repeat, not an authorized attack. All ships hold position. The rogue commander was arrested within minutes, dragged from his ship by his own crew. But the damage was done. Vraxis had lost control, and everyone in the galaxy watching saw it happen. In the human quarters, Commander Minho of the Special Operations Team smiled. He had infiltrated the Dominion fleet days ago and had been waiting for exactly this moment to create chaos from within. The shot had been planned, coordinated, and perfectly timed. Ambassador Jinwoo opened a channel to the entire sector, broadcasting to every ship and every station. Let it be known that humanity did not fire first. We were willing to be attacked to prove our peaceful intentions. The Dominion, however, has shown that their unity is fragile and their leadership is questionable. We bear no ill will toward the captain who fired. He simply did what his admiral could not. He made a decision. Across the Dominion fleet, ships began to maneuver. Not attacking, but repositioning. Moving away from the flagship. Several captains sent private messages to their home governments, questioning Vraxis's command. The coalition was fracturing before everyone's eyes. And then, Prelate Thorn made an unexpected move. His ship broadcast on all frequencies. The massive reptilian appeared on screens across the sector. "I have witnessed enough," Thorn said, his voice heavy with resignation. "Humanity is not primitive. They are patient, strategic, and capable. I apologize for my words in the council chamber. They were spoken in arrogance and ignorance. The Empire formally recognizes humanity as an equal power and requests negotiations for mutual cooperation." The floodgates opened. Within an hour, 47 species had broadcast similar apologies and requests for relations. The smaller species moved first, eager to break free from Dominion control. Then medium powers joined. Finally, some of the major species added their voices. Vraxis stood alone on his flagship, watching his coalition collapse around him. His greatest nightmare had come true, and he had not fired a single shot. The Grand Galactic Council chamber had never been so crowded. Species that usually sent only one delegate now filled their sections with representatives, eager to witness what everyone knew would be a historic moment. The energy in the massive hall crackled with anticipation and nervousness. Everything was about to change. Ambassador Jinwoo stood at the human podium once more, but this time the atmosphere was completely different. No one laughed. No one whispered dismissive comments. Every eye in the chamber focused on the human delegation with absolute attention and, in many cases, newfound respect. High Chancellor Vraxis sat in his elevated position, but he no longer looked powerful. His mandibles hung loose. His eyes had lost their cruel gleam. In the past 12 hours, 6 species had formally withdrawn from the Dominion coalition. 8 more had suspended their membership. His empire of influence was crumbling, and he knew it. Prelate Thorn stood before the council, his massive form somehow seeming humbled. He had requested to speak first, and Jinwoo had graciously agreed. "Members of the Galactic Council," Thorn began, his deep voice carrying across the chamber, "I stand before you to publicly acknowledge a grave error. I insulted humanity. I mocked their capabilities. I dismissed their potential. I was wrong." He turned to face Jinwoo directly. "Ambassador, I formally apologize on behalf of my entire empire. We judged you by the standards of our own slow development and failed to recognize that different paths can lead to equal or even superior outcomes. We would be honored to establish full diplomatic relations with Earth and humanity." Murmurs of approval rippled through the chamber. One by one, other species stood to offer their own apologies. The Crystalline Assembly, the Merchant Consortium, the Spiral Federation, dozens of powers, both major and minor, added their voices. Some apologies were genuine, others were clearly motivated by fear or political calculation, but all of them came. Finally, all eyes turned to Vraxis. The chamber fell silent, waiting. The High Chancellor stood slowly. For a long moment he said nothing, his pride visibly warring with necessity. Then, in a voice stripped of its former arrogance, he spoke. "Humanity, I apologize. I called you primitive apes. I suggested you should be grateful merely to observe true civilization. These words were spoken in arrogance and contempt. They were unworthy of a leader and damaging to galactic unity. I retract them fully and without reservation." He paused, and when he continued, there was something almost like respect in his tone. "You have proven yourselves to be a power worthy of equal standing. The Dominion Coalition recognizes this and requests the opportunity to begin again with proper respect." Jinwoo nodded slowly, accepting the apology with quiet dignity. But before he could respond, the holographic display activated at the center of the chamber. A new figure appeared, larger than life, projected for all to see. President Taejin of Earth stood in what appeared to be the unified government headquarters on Earth. Behind him, windows showed the blue planet rotating peacefully in space. He wore simple formal robes, and his age-lined face carried both wisdom and strength. "Honored members of the Galactic Council, President Taejin said, his voice calm and measured. I am grateful for the apologies offered today. They are accepted, but acceptance of apologies is not the same as forgetting the lessons learned. He gestured, and images appeared beside him showing the events of the past week. The initial insult, the human response, the standoff, and finally the collapse of the old order. For 30 years, humanity has watched the galaxy operate under a specific system. The oldest species ruled. The strongest militaries dominated. Innovation was rare because it was unnecessary. This system worked for thousands of years, but it has now revealed a critical weakness. It rewards age over merit, size over efficiency, tradition over progress. The chamber listened in absolute silence. Even Vraxis did not move. Therefore, President Taejin continued, humanity proposes a restructuring of the Galactic Council. Not a revolution, but an evolution. We suggest that council voting power be determined not by the age of a species or the size of their territory, but by three factors: technological innovation, diplomatic cooperation, and contribution to galactic peace and prosperity. Images showed the proposed new system. Species would earn influence through sharing knowledge, resolving conflicts peacefully, and advancing civilization as a whole. Stagnant powers would gradually lose authority. Growing, innovative species would gain it. This system rewards progress, President Taejin explained. It encourages cooperation. It makes peace more valuable than war and knowledge more powerful than weapons. Species that embrace this philosophy will thrive. Those that do not will not be punished, but neither will they dominate others. Dr. Hyan appeared beside President Taejin, her presence adding scholarly authority to the proposal. We have modeled this system extensively. It benefits both large and small species. It creates incentives for sharing rather than hoarding. Most importantly, it ensures that what happened to humanity, being dismissed and insulted despite our capabilities, cannot happen to others. Murmurs of discussion filled the chamber. Smaller species looked excited. Medium powers seemed interested. The traditional major powers appeared uncertain, calculating how this would affect their positions. Ambassador Jinwoo finally spoke from his podium. This is not an ultimatum. Humanity does not demand the galaxy change. We simply offer a vision of what could be. We will proceed with this system ourselves, forming an alliance of species who believe in merit-based cooperation. Others are welcome to join or to continue with traditional structures. We respect all choices. Liaison Ji-young activated a display showing the species that had already agreed to join the new alliance. 47 names appeared, including several significant powers. The list was already substantial, and it was growing. These species have agreed to share technology, cooperate on research, and support each other diplomatically, Ji-young explained. They represent a combined population of over 3 trillion individuals and control strategic resources across multiple sectors. This is not a military alliance, it is a coalition for progress. Vraxis stood again, and this time his voice carried a note of desperation. You are dividing the galaxy. You are creating factions that did not exist before. No, Jinwoo corrected gently. We are revealing divisions that already existed. The small species have always resented being ignored. The innovative species have always been frustrated by stagnation. The peaceful species have always feared being caught in conflicts between major powers. We are simply giving these species a choice they did not have before. President Taejin added, the Dominion Coalition and other traditional alliances may continue exactly as they are. We are not threatening them. We are merely offering an alternative. Competition in ideas is healthy. It drives progress. A delegate from a medium-sized species stood. What about military matters? If there is a threat to the galaxy, who leads the defense? Captain Daeho stepped forward to answer. The new alliance will maintain a coordinated defense network, but it will be voluntary. Each species retains complete sovereignty over their military forces. We share intelligence, coordinate strategies, and support each other, but no one is forced to fight. This is not an empire. It is a partnership. Another delegate asked, "What prevents humanity from dominating this new alliance the way the Dominion has dominated the Council?" Engineer Hana responded, "The system itself. As other species innovate and contribute, they gain influence. If humanity stops advancing, we lose our position. The only way to maintain leadership is to keep earning it. That applies to everyone equally." The questions continued for hours. Every concern was addressed patiently and thoroughly. The human delegation had clearly prepared for every possible objection. More importantly, their answers were reasonable, fair, and designed to benefit all participants rather than just humanity. As the session drew to a close, something remarkable happened. Prelate Thorn stood and announced that his empire would join the new alliance, formally withdrawing from its traditional neutrality. The Crystalline Assembly followed. Then the Spiral Federation. Species after species declared their intention to participate in the merit-based system. By the end of the session, over 80 species had committed to the alliance. More were requesting information packets to review with their governments. The galaxy was reorganizing before everyone's eyes. Varaxis sat in his elevated position, watching his coalition dissolve. Finally, in a voice barely loud enough to hear, he asked, "What about the Dominion? Do you have a place for us in this new order?" Jinwu looked up at the High Chancellor. "Of course. Any species that commits to innovation, cooperation, and peaceful contribution is welcome. Past conflicts are forgiven if future actions demonstrate change. The choice is yours, High Chancellor." Vraxis sat back, his mandibles clicking softly as he considered this. He had been offered something he did not expect: redemption. The session adjourned. Delegates scattered to contact their home governments and discuss the momentous changes. The human delegation returned to their quarters, where Admiral Suman waited on the holographic display. "Well done," Suman said with pride. "The fleet will begin returning to Earth tomorrow. Some will stay as a permanent diplomatic guard, but the crisis is over." Jinwu nodded. It was never really about the fleet. It was about showing the galaxy that change is possible, that progress can come from unexpected places, that the future belongs to those who adapt, not those who simply endure. 6 months passed. The new alliance, formally named the Cooperative Development Coalition, grew to include 133 species. Joint research stations were established. Technology exchange programs flourished. Conflicts that had simmered for centuries were resolved through the coalition's mediation. Captain Daiho, now promoted to admiral, commanded the coalition's defense coordination network. Engineer Hana ran the technology sharing program, teaching alien species the principles of rapid innovation that humanity had perfected. Dr. Hyon became the ambassador for scientific cooperation, her expertise in alien cultures proving invaluable. Liaison Jiyung managed the complex web of diplomatic relationships that held the coalition together. Ambassador Jinwu remained at the council station, now recognized as one of the most influential voices in galactic politics. His calm approach and fair dealing had earned genuine respect across species lines. The Dominion coalition still existed, but it was smaller, humbler, and more cooperative. Vraxis had been replaced by a more progressive leader who had formally applied for coalition membership. The application was being seriously considered. On Earth, in a school classroom, children learned about the events that had changed humanity's place in the galaxy. A young student raised her hand. "Teacher, why did the aliens apologize?" "They had bigger ships and more weapons." The teacher smiled. "Because they learned what we have always known. True strength is not about who has the biggest weapons. It is about who can think the furthest ahead, adapt the fastest, and turn challenges into opportunities. The aliens thought they were strong because they were old and had many ships. We showed them that real strength comes from never stopping growth, never accepting that good enough is truly good enough. The student looked out the window at the sky, where human ships came and went freely, traveling to dozens of worlds that now called humanity friend and partner. In his office on the council station, Ambassador Jinwoo received a message from Admiral Daeho. It was simple and direct. New species requesting to join the coalition. They heard about what we did and want to be part of what comes next. The future looks bright. Jinwoo smiled and typed his response. Tell them we welcome all who seek progress. The galaxy has room for everyone willing to grow. He looked out at the stars, at the vast darkness filled with light from countless worlds. Once, humanity had been alone in the universe. Then they had been dismissed as primitive. Now they were recognized as equals, and more importantly, as partners in building something better. The lesson had been taught, the galaxy had learned, and humanity had proven what they had always known. Never underestimate someone simply because you do not understand them. In the end, that lesson had cost the old powers their monopoly on authority and given humanity the stars, not through conquest, but through patience. Not through dominance, but through demonstrating value. Not through demanding respect, but through earning it so completely that it could not be denied. The galaxy had offended humanity and expected submission. Instead, they received a lesson in what it truly meant to be strong.